That song you love is on right now, not later, not on a playlist, not something you have to pay for. I mean live, right now. That's called radio. In Seattle, that's called Warm 106.9.
You know that feeling when your dog hears a treat bag from 3 rooms away, but somehow your business is invisible on Google? At SearchHound, your marketing companion, we help businesses get found online, so customers don't have to go digging. From SEO to Google business profiles to showing up in AI search results, we help the right people find you right when they're looking. So whether you own a business or you know someone who could use more leads, point them in the right direction. Visit searchhoundseo.com and let's get your business on the set.
And love has many faces. See it in the eyes that look right into your soul. Love has many faces. Proud and humble, beautiful and plain, and young and old.
Well, hello and welcome to Love Has Many Faces. I'm your host, Marilyn Milano, here on Alternative Talk 1150. And we have a returning guest today, a wonderful research scientist from Canine Cancer Research Alliance. This is Mary Maeda. She will be telling us a little bit more about some vaccines and tests that have been going on to try to help extend the lives of some of the dogs affected by cancer. We'll be talking about hemangiosarcoma and also about a couple of special events that are coming up. So I'm really looking forward to getting some of these updates on the latest in dog cancer research and also to learning more about the events that she will be involved with. So just a reminder to everyone, our show is now podcast, and so you can type Love Has Many Faces podcast into your search bar or just go wherever you get podcasts and look it up. And you will find our shows, and they're easy to share, and they're out there. So we're excited about that because what we're here to do is to raise awareness, touch hearts, and help save the lives of animals. And in doing that, we are helping their people too. So let people know, share those links, and we're going to be right back in just a moment with our guest, Mary Maeda. I'm Marilyn Milano, your host of Love Has Many Faces here on Alternative Talk 1150.
You know that feeling when your dog hears a treat bag from 3 rooms away, but somehow your business is invisible on Google? At SearchHound, your marketing companion, we help businesses get found online, so customers don't have to go digging. From SEO to Google business profiles to showing up in AI search results, we help the right people find you right when they're looking. So whether you own a business or you know someone who could use more leads, point them in the right direction. Visit searchhoundseo.com and let's get your business on the set.
This is Martha Norwalk, every Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m. Thanks in part to Linda Rasmussen at verticalenergyworldwide.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, May 3rd, at Shelter Rescue Sanctuary and anything that helps our Animal Friends Sunday. We'll check in with Meow Cat Rescue, Help Animals India, and Animals24-7.org. Plus, we'll find out about all the upcoming events and classes at the Ananda Institute for Living Yoga. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk AM 1150.
Talk radio for the heart and soul. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Love Has Many Faces. And again, welcome to returning guest Mary Maeda. How are you?
I'm great. Doing very well. Thank you so much for letting me come.
Good. So for the sake of people who might be tuning in for the first time or who might not have heard our other conversations, do you mind giving just a quick little overview of what your organization is about? And then we'll jump into some updates.
Yes. So our organization is called Canine Cancer Alliance, and it's a nonprofit foundation based in Bellevue, Washington. I am a scientist, and I moved to Seattle about 10 years ago. And immediately after moving to Seattle, I lost 2 of my dogs, 2 dogs to cancer. In fact, all my dogs we've lost to cancer. I was just extremely frustrated because because of my background, I knew how much research advances were happening, but there were just no clinical trials open in Seattle area for dogs, even though there are so many dog lovers in the area. And there was when Gus got cancer, which turned out to be osteosarcoma, bone cancer. I knew that there was an extremely promising immunotherapy clinical trial open at University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. So I would have flown him there, but unfortunately, they had closed the doors after enrolling 20 or so dogs, and they were analyzing data. And just sort of out of my frustration with, how little work there was to help dogs, I started this organization to help support research and clinical trials to help dogs.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, I've lost 11 dogs in the past few decades here, and a few of those were to cancer. And it's any way we lose them is devastating. But certainly when we see a cancer that is common, and when we see that, with people, we're trying to make headway and there are trials. So one of the things that your organization does, the way I understand it, is that you help raise awareness, but also raise donations and funding for some of these trials so that more dogs can be helped. Am I correct with that?
Absolutely. Yes, that's right. We advance research. Research is our main focus. We do a lot of education too, but research is the main thing.
Well, I know that we have talked about this before, and I've actually known a couple of people who've lost their dogs to this, but people have heard about hemangiosarcoma, and it always strikes fear in the hearts of pet lovers anywhere because it's common. It's common with many types of dogs, but especially golden retrievers and German shepherds. And so, do you want to just dive into it a little bit about what it is? The nature of this cancer and what tests they're doing to try to make treatments more suitable and working to work better?
Yes, absolutely. So hemangiosarcoma in dogs is extremely common. So roughly 1 in 3 dogs will end up with cancer, but depending on the breed, hemangio is one of the most common cancer types. For golden retrievers, if there are 100 Goldens who have cancer, 70 of them would end up with hemangiosarcoma. That's how
Oh,
common it is.
oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, and I lost my 2 year old, a dog who just turned 2, a golden retriever,
Oh,
to hemangiosarcoma. And what's really awful about this cancer is it's silent. And you know how people tell you, look for signs, if there's swelling or whatever. But with hemangio, there's hardly any signs. Often the dog might collapse or they just might not feel good. And uh, you know, it's very, very difficult to catch it early, and it's very aggressive.
I know that there have been trials. In fact, as you're telling me this, I'm thinking of a Facebook friend with the dog group, and they lost a cocker a few years ago to hemangiosarcoma. And as you said, I mean, he seemed to be doing fine, and all of a sudden he collapsed, and they get him in there, and it's hemangiosarcoma, and he is gone that same night. So,
Yeah.
what usually happens when people find it, and what new directions, what is going on that gives you more hope for this, for treating this terrible disease?
Yes. So, what often happens, so hemangiosarcoma could occur on the skin. If it's skin, then you could get surgery, but very often it comes back. But it's sometimes and often happens, you find it in the spleen, in internal organs. So,
Hmm.
splenic hemangiosarcoma, or could be liver, or it could even be heart, and those are very difficult to treat. Splenic hemangiosarcoma is probably one of the more common types of hemangio, and you usually have surgery and get it removed. And after removal, you think you've gotten it all and it hasn't spread, but unfortunately, it's often already starting to spread. And so dogs might get chemotherapy, but they will only live a few more months, even with surgery and with chemotherapy. So the challenge is how can you help dogs live much longer, potentially be cured? And the treatments that are extremely exciting are called immunotherapy. It's the, they're not trying to kill cancer cells directly, but it's a kind of treatment where you stimulate the immune system so that the dog's immune system can recognize what cancer looks like and goes after and kills cancer cells. And there are several different kinds of immunotherapy, but the most exciting research that we have been actually supporting, and the outcomes data is looking quite promising, is starting to help dogs with stage 1 and stage 2 hemangiosarcoma live longer, which is really probably really one of the I think there hasn't been any advancements in hemangiosarcoma in decades, but finally this new drug is being evaluated in clinical trial, and it includes Seattle hospitals. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that it's going to be approved by USDA, at least conditionally approved by USDA soon, so anyone can order it.
Wow.
And this immunotherapy is called EGFR HER2 vaccine. And just like all vaccines, you give the dog a shot. Very, very simple, right? It's just an injection, and second shot 3 weeks later. And it's a peptide vaccine. So the dog's immune system sees these EGFR and HER2 proteins and says, oh, this is a target for me. I'm going to destroy cells that are overexpressing EGFR and HER2 proteins. And the immune system will then go and kill hemangiosarcoma cancer cells. So typically what happens is a dog might not feel good, or just during routine checkup, they might find a tumor on the spleen. The pup might get surgery, and then they biopsy the sample and say, oh, this is hemangiosarcoma. And then typically they would end up getting chemotherapy. But on top of chemotherapy, the dogs will get this 2 injections of EGFR HER2 vaccine, and that can help subset of those dogs live much longer than if they'd just gotten chemo and surgery.
Well, I mean, when we love our animals, any added amount of time is so worth it to us, because we always say we wish we could just spend just even another week, another month. And so do you have any examples or stories to share of specific dogs that have been treated recently that have shown promise?
Yes, yes. So this clinical trial is open in 11 locations in the USA. And here in Seattle, you can contact Bridge Animal Referral Center in Edmonds if you're interested in getting this vaccine. And you don't have to change your doctors. Your oncologist might be somewhere else, but if you qualify for the vaccine, you just go to Bridge Animal Referral Center just for the shots. Or if you're already a patient there, then it's even easier.
And what is the name of the hospital again? I'm sorry.
It's called BARC, B-A-R-C, which stands for Bridge Animal Referral Center. And the data is, usually people talk in terms of survival times. So you say, okay, this drug is working because a median survival time has gone from, a certain number of days to a certain number of longer days. So if you compare dogs who just got surgery and chemotherapy for stage 1 and 2 hemangiosarcoma, typically median survival time is about 100-something days. But with the help of this vaccine, that number is almost doubled to about 200-something days. But what's even more exciting is that subset of these dogs are living very, very long time. So over 300 days, even over a year.
Whoa.
And some of the dogs, one dog in particular I know quite well. This dog's name is Betty Boop. And Betty got the vaccine 3 years ago after being diagnosed with splenic hemangiosarcoma. And she's still alive today, which is unheard of.
3 years. So that's quite a bit longer. That's like 9 times as long.
Yes, yes. And it's not just hemangiosarcoma. This vaccine is available for other dogs who are fighting osteosarcoma. And we have a lot more dogs and data for osteosarcoma patients,
Yes.
and it does help prevent metastasis for osteosarcoma patients. And also TCC, which is bladder cancer, transitional cell carcinoma. Um, and and the nice thing is it's really simple. It's not like chemotherapy where you have to go in for many, many, many infusions. It's just 2 shots. And the side effects are like minimal, hardly almost zero side effects. The worst thing that could happen is you get swelling where you got the injection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned when you tried to get one of your dogs in before that had been ill, that there weren't any open trials. I'm assuming there are still limits as to how many animals can be uh, admitted, or if the USDA approves, will it be open to everybody, or what's the status of that right now?
Yes.
Speak.
So once the USDA gives that conditional approval status, then this vaccine will be available through any clinic. But until then, you have to go through our clinical trial. So if you go to our website, ccralliance.org, there's a page there that describes the list of clinics that are enrolling patients, including BARC here in outside Seattle. And the patients, the families are responsible for getting imaging, um, other things like surgery or chemo, but the vaccine is free because we have been funding the team at Yale, the team who's manufacturing the vaccine and collecting the data. So all that funding comes from our donations, and the vaccines is free. But I think there's a kind of a nominal cost for injecting the vaccine
Okay.
that you'll have to pay for.
Okay, well, certainly for all the dog lovers out there that would like to give their babies a little better chance at life, this is such encouraging news. And again, as you mentioned, the ccralliance.org is your website. I always think of Creedence Clearwater Revival. You can tell when I grew up, the CCR was their logo. So if people can't remember, they can just think of the Creedence Clearwater Alliance, but it's ccralliance.org. And as you
Yeah.
said, they can go onto your website and do a deeper dive into the various types of cancers that the research is being funded for. And also, I'm sure, find out if this touches their heart, how can they donate? How can they volunteer? How can they be a part of the solution?
Absolutely. So there's so many ways to participate and be involved and support this work. And the reason that we can continue to enroll more and more patients, hundreds of patients, instead of just 20 dogs and analyze the data and then jump to human trial, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we want to happen. We want it to be available to all the dog patients, and we want to make it available on an ongoing basis so the researchers can collect more data. And it is heartbreaking. I've been through it when you know that there's a therapy that could help my dog, but because of whatever the formality or because of lack of funding, they just won't make it available for you, that the clinical trial is closed. So that's why this trial is open, continuing to enroll patients, making the drug available to more and more dogs with these 3 types of cancer. And with approval, hopefully, it's anyone can order it. And the best ways to get involved, there's so many different ways, but we have a 5K, annual 5K coming up next weekend, this Sunday at Marymoor Park in Redmond. And we're inviting people to register for $35. $35 is actually a donation, so it's tax deductible. And you get a t-shirt, and then come and join the walk or the run. There's going to be fun contests. There's a Forever Loved wall that's honoring our pups with photographs. We have vendors, information booths. There's a lot of information about various clinical trials, not just this trial, but other trials that we're running that seem to be promising. And lots of other information that you might not be able to get from your vets because your family vets are usually not the experts on cancer. And they're so busy, they just might not have the bandwidth to stay up to date on what's available. So,
Right.
so it's an opportunity to join the community, do the walk, run, raise funds for us. There's peer-to-peer fundraising possible. And yeah, there'll be a lot of dog lovers there.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So it's called Wag Love Life, and it will be at Merrymore Park. What are the hours of your event? I know that people can find it on your website, but just for those who are listening right now that might be curious.
Yes, the walk and the run is going to start at 10 a.m. Registration opens at 9 a.m. So you can show up and register. That's $40. But if you register ahead of time, it's a lot easier.
Yes, I know. I have been at events before where there are the long registration lines. Now, I think we're supposed to have decent weather this weekend, which will make it even nicer because you just never know what you're going to get. As a, Seattleite who's been here the most of my life, you can plan an event in August and it might still rain on you, and you could plan one in February and you might get a sunny day. So it looks good. This is indeed very exciting and worthwhile. Do you have any idea what the usual attendance is for an event like this?
Usually about 250, 300 people.
Okay, and if more people knew, I think they would be there.
Yes, and
Because
if you can show up, I hope you will at least tell your friends about it and help spread the word because this vaccine is really can help slow and prevent metastasis. And there are actually some dogs who had metastatic cancer who became cured and lived for 3 extra years, which is like amazing.
that
And we're
truly
yeah.
amazing. That's wonderful. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes. You know, I lost my little 15-year-old dog to splenic cancer in July. Now, he'd been slowing down. He was old. There were a lot of things, but and I mean, he wasn't a candidate for really treatment or surgery because he was pretty fragile. But it's just heartbreaking. We know this, and so I think it's fantastic that you're doing this. Now, the other thing you've got coming up is a webinar on what every parent needs to know about canine cancer. Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
Yes, there is a webinar that's open. It's a free webinar open to everybody. And it's going to be sharing really cool information that you usually can't find online or that vets won't talk about. And it has to do with ways to do early detection of cancer, because if you can detect cancer early, it's much better chance of finding a cure. But if you believe what internet says, then you'll go a certain route, and that's not. We're going to share something that, yeah, a test that's you can actually get now that's backed by quite a bit of data. We're going to be sharing information about different treatment option modalities that vets might not share with you because they don't know or because they don't have the equipment or access to it. But it's a way to avoid extremely drastic surgery, or if the surgery doesn't have clear margins,
Mhm.
then then your option is, well, you might do chemo or you might do radiation therapy, and that'll cost another $15,000 and it's going to be side
Mhm.
effects. There's actually another option, which I didn't even know about until a couple of years ago. And there are only about 3 doctors in Seattle area that offers it. And you need to know about this therapy because we're going to go on a campaign to educate more vets, more families about this therapy. So there are these really surprising and interesting things that we just want every pet parent to know. And we're going to be sharing this at this webinar. And there's going to be 2 days where we'll be doing the same webinar on May 8th and May 15th. So it's a Friday, May 8th and Friday 15th at noon Pacific time. And
Okay.
again, if you go to our website, you'll find a link to a page where you can sign up for these webinars.
That's just what I was going to ask you. Where can people go to find this out? So this is fantastic. Well, you know how it always goes when we're talking about important things that could be life-changing for pet people and their babies. Time goes fast. So we've just got about another minute. I'm just wondering if there are any last-minute thoughts or ideas that you want to put out there or a thought you'd like to leave our listeners with today.
Yes, absolutely. So if your dog has cancer, or if your friend his dog has cancer, and if they're told that there are no other options, or the option that you're given with conventional therapy, standard therapy, the outlook is not good, that you know the cancer is going to come back with conventional therapy, reach out to us, email us. and we'll help you navigate and share with you more information so that you can go back to your vet and say, well, how about this or how about this?
Yes.
And we'll support you. So just contact us.
Okay.
We'll try to answer every email that comes in.
And again, for folks that might have just jumped in, Mary is a research scientist. We're not talking about some kind of questionable or maybe sidebar types of ideas. I mean, this is hardcore scientific research. This is clinical trials. This comes from the loss of her own beloved golden retrievers. So you're talking to people that are well grounded and they've got the facts to back things up. So, anyway, Mary, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Marilyn.
All right, best of luck with your event. We've been talking with Mary Maeda of the Canine Cancer Alliance, Canine Cancer Research, or tell me, is it Canine Cancer Alliance or Canine Cancer Research Alliance? I have both written down.
Yeah, the official name is a long name with research in it, but we shorten it and do a DBA, Canine Cancer Alliance.
Okay, wonderful. Well, go to caninecanceralliance.org and you will get the answers to your questions. So again, thank you to Mary Maeda for joining us. And we'll take a short pause. I'm Marilyn Milano, your host of Love Has Many Faces here on Alternative Talk 1150.
Hi, this is Marilyn Milano, your host of Love Has Many Faces. The music that you're hearing during this show every week is exclusively original music from my own CDs. If you're enjoying it and would like to order a copy of one of my 2 CDs for yourself or as a gift, just go to marilynmilano.net and you can order directly from the website. I give a portion of every sale back to Animal Rescue because that's part of the whole cause. Thank you for listening and thanks for your support.
Alternative Talk 1150.
Well, welcome back to Love Has Many Faces. I'm your host, Marilyn Milano. A wonderful, informative conversation with Mary Maeda of the Canine Cancer Alliance. Again, their website is caninecanceralliance.org. Lots of promising developments with vaccines and other treatments for difficult cancers in dogs. And you can find a lot more out on the site. Now, as you know, we podcast our shows as well. If you are hearing this podcast or show after Sunday, May 3rd, then their event will have already happened, but it's not too late to still go to their site and sign up to volunteer, make a donation. There are other ways that you can help. So we hope people will do that. And please spread the word about this website and about the scientific research that is going into helping fund clinical trials and helping find cures or at least life extensions for pets with cancer. So very worthwhile work. Anyway, please join us next Tuesday from 9 to 9:30. We're here every Tuesday from 9 to 9:30 Pacific time on KKNW. And you can also listen online. So until then, I'm Marilyn Milano, your host, signing off and wishing you a wonderful week.